I have watched hundreds of fantasy films, and as time has passed, I have noticed that more and more of them do this one annoying thing that sentences them to mediocrity instead of becoming an amazing classic that you can tell your kids about. And for our convenience, I think this problem was beautifully highlighted in the recent Dungeons & Dragons movie. But first, a rapid recap of the plot, because trust me, it will help you see what I'm talking about. The movie begins with our protagonists in prison. Why are they in prison? Well, after losing his wife, the bard decided to become a thief with his group of friends, until in one heist to retrieve a relic to revive his wife, they got captured when the witch that they were helping froze them. After escaping prison, they go to retrieve his daughter that has been under the care of their old friend. Turns out their friend planned on them getting captured and as a result wants to send them back to prison. They escape again, remake their team, and make a plan to retrieve the artifact whilst rescuing the daughter. To achieve this, they go find a magical helmet and then break into the castle. But they get caught again, and get thrown into an arena which they escape, before finally rescuing the daughter and capturing the magic tablet. Then they go save the city from the witch, and the film ends. If you have not actually watched the film, please do, as that recap is a massive disservice to how good the film actually was, as I only included the major plot points. I say this was a good film, but there was one thing that just didn't really seem to fit and stopped it from being a great film for me. What was that thing, I hear you ask? Well, of course, it was the ending. Since the Avengers, it feels like all fantasy films think they need a big battle with a villain at the end. Looking at the 100 biggest budget fantasy films from 2020 till today, over 70% of them end with a battle with the bad guy or gal. And I, for one, am bored of it. In defense of this movie, they did keep that battle rather interesting compared to most of the other films. But nevertheless, I don't think it was necessary and it did not even fit with the story. So let me explain. And if I do not manage to persuade you, do let me know why in the comments. Firstly, I know what some of you will say. The film was based on Dungeons & Dragons, and so it makes sense for them to be a final boss fight. But no, the plot of this story did not support it. From my short recap, you can tell this whole film was about retrieving the daughter and the magic tablet. It's only at the very end where the party decides to fight the witch and save the city. I mean, in the whole film, the team mentions her directly 3 times. Yes, I counted. And she only directly impacts the plot 6 times, when over half of those, she was just being a tool used by Forge, the friend that betrayed them. And this was mostly done by her using her magic to just capture them. What I'm trying to say is that our heroes are irrelevant to her and her goals, and vice versa. The only reason they end up in conflict is through association, really. I mean, think of all the best hero and villain stories, like Batman and the Joker, Luke and Darth Vader, Harry Potter and Voldemort. When they do finally clash and defeat them, it feels so satisfying because the stakes were personal to our heroes. And in films like this, it's just not. What highlights this is that before they decide to fight her, our main hero literally says, fuck it, we might as well help them. So not only did the film force what is essentially a superhero battle, they did it with a villain that does not fit the heroes. Now, if you haven't watched the film in a while, you might be feeling that this conflict was not just shoehorned in, but let me tell you why you feel this. Now, unlike most movie writers these days, the ones on this film were pretty good, and from the beginning of the film they were hinting at the importance of these red wizards. Their name would be casually name-dropped in the important events that took place, giving some relevance to our heroes. Until they go full-on exposition when the new paladin joins the group. That's where we actually learn about why they are bad and what the witch will be doing later in the film. However, all this makes it seem like stopping the Red Wizards would be more of the paladin's goal, as he's the only one impacted by what the witch is planning to do, and he was shown to go out of his way to protect people. Yet, after he helps the team retrieve the helmet, he just pieces out. What would have made more sense was if he was there to persuade the group into saving the city, instead of them doing it because they are already there. It would make more sense if their motivation was related to the group's past experiences to give it that personal feeling. However, like I said earlier, this film still managed to make that final battle interesting-ish. But the majority of films get limited to just punching each other repeatedly until the good guys win. Surely there is a new interesting way to end your films. But that could be just me. So, do you still enjoy the big villain battles at the end, or do other things ruin your movie experience, like plot armor, for example? I mean, if you do hate plot armor, I actually made a video on how to fix it that you can watch here.